And so far, we have been looking at the hierarchical constitution of the church. The hierarchical constitution of the church. And in the last session that we had the opportunity to talk about the supreme authority of the church. And we saw that the supreme authority, humanly speaking, as far as the Catholic Church is concerned, is the Roman Pontiff. The Roman Pontiff is the Pope, the Holy Father. He is the supreme authority as far as the church is concerned. And of course, we also mentioned that though he is a supreme authority, he doesn't just decide things on his own. He doesn't work alone, in other words. And the implication, therefore, is that he works with what the church calls the College of Bishops. The College of Bishops. We had mentioned last time, of course, that the Holy Father is the immediate successor of St. Peter. And we also mentioned that the bishops, together with him, are the successors of the apostles. And as far as the Pope and the bishops are concerned, they constitute what we call the College of Bishops. By College of Bishops, we are referring, therefore, to the collectivity of the bishops in communion with their head, who is the Supreme Pontiff. And in order to belong to this College of Bishops, you have to fulfill two conditions. To belong to the College of Bishops, you have to fulfill two conditions. The first condition is that you must have been validly consecrated a bishop, which means that you must have been ordained to be a bishop. Then, secondly, you must be in hierarchical communion with the Holy Father and the other bishops. So those who are in the College of Bishops, as we mentioned, are bishops themselves and the Holy Father. Yes, the church has informed us during the last catechetical session that we had about the fact that the Holy Father has that full supreme authority over the church. But we also mentioned the fact that even though he has this authority is exercised most especially during what the church calls an Ecumenical Council. An Ecumenical Council is a council that can only be convoked by the Holy Father. That the aspects of deliberations in that council can only be determined by him. And of course, working together with the College of Bishops and the other experts, as far as the church deems necessary, they have lots of things to do as far as the Ecumenical Council is concerned. So he determines what is going to be discussed during an Ecumenical Council. The first Ecumenical Council in the church is recorded in the Acts of the Apostles in chapter 15, verses 1 to 35. That is the Council of Jerusalem. The Council of Jerusalem. When there was all this whole aspect of circumcision and all the rest, it was brought to the apostles. The apostles discussed the issues. They gave contributions as far as the topic was concerned. And at the end of the day, they wrote a document and they sent out to the church as the fruit of the deliberation that they had. As far as the history of the church is concerned, we have had 21 ecumenical councils. And the last ecumenical council that took place in the church was the Second Vatican Ecumenical Council that took place in the year 1962 to 1965. Since then, we have not had an ecumenical council again. And I'm sure also since then, even the fruit of the different constitutions and degrees that came out during that council, we have not fully made use of. And that is why it is important that not only the priests, when they are on formation to the priesthood, and even the lay Christians through Jopasit and other formations that we are given, that we expose ourselves to the content of this document, because there are lots of riches there that can help us as far as our faith is concerned. And all bishops have the right and the obligations to attend the Ecumenical Council. And they also have the voting rights. As we mentioned already during the council, different experts in different fields and all the rest, they are brought in order to give their contributions as far as the work of the council is concerned. The College of Bishops, therefore, is one of the ways in which the Holy Father governs the universal church through the different bishops in the different dioceses that try to shepherd the flock, the people of God that have been entrusted to them. The bishops are not the representative of the Pope. They are successors of the apostles. The representative of the Pope is the apostolic nuncio. And in our case, we are talking about the apostolic nuncio to Cameroon and Equatorial Guinea, who is residing in Yaoundé. He is an official representative of the Pope in Cameroon, which means that if there's anything in the church in Cameroon that needs the Holy Father, or that we need to talk to the Holy Father, we pass through the apostolic nuncio in order to get to the Holy Father. There are also other organs of governance as far as the life of the church is concerned. Of course, we mentioned last time during the catechetical session that we had, we talked about the Cardinals. The Cardinals and the function that they carry out. As far as the election of the new Pope is concerned, if we look at the College of Cardinals, we have what we call the Cardinal Deacons, Cardinal Priests, and Cardinal Bishops. As far as the Cardinals are concerned, they too, like any other bishop or any other priest, when they are to reach the age of 75, they must write their letter of resignation to the Holy Father to indicate that the coming year they will be 75 years old, so that they can be released of their functions. Either they are holding functions at the Vatican, or they are, in dioceses in different parts of the world. When they reach the age of 75, they are supposed to resign. They are supposed to tender in their resignation so that they can be replaced. And of course, as far as the cardinals are concerned, they are the people that if there is a necessity, when, of course, the see is vacant, the conclave is called, and the dean of the cardinals temporarily controls the affairs of the conclave and also sees to it that a different pope is elected. I mentioned last time that if the pope is elected, he is never forced to accept, that he must do so out of free will to take that responsibility to be the supreme shepherd. And the cardinals, of course, they do a lot of work in order to assist as far as the governance of the church is concerned. And some people think that each nation must have a cardinal. No. The election or the appointment of a cardinal depends on the Holy Father. He's the one who decides who to appoint to become a cardinal. And there is a certain number that he is supposed to have. And it's important that we understand that, because I remember when Cardinal Tumi passed away, we thought in Cameroon that another bishop in Cameroon will be made a cardinal. And up to now, there is no cardinal. We must be wondering that why is the Pope biased? Why does he hate Cameroonians? He appoints the cardinals, and I think there are criteria that he follows depending on the country, on the region, to make sure that a particular number of cardinals exists here and there. And my dear brothers and sisters, what we have to realize and what we have to know as far as the life of the church is concerned is that the dean, as far as the College of Cardinals is concerned, has an important role to play as far as the ordination of the new pope, in the case in which the pope was elected and he was not yet a bishop. It is the responsibility of the dean of the College of Cardinals to ordain the person that has been elected to become a bishop, so that the person can be able to take that authority as far as the governance of the church is concerned. The Synod of Bishops is concerned. It is another form that expresses what we call the collegiality, the working together of the bishops. And as far as the Synod of Bishops is concerned, the Synod is made up of bishops from different parts of the world that is chosen by the Holy Father. And when the Holy Father chooses these bishops to be fathers of the Synod, what normally happens, of course, is that he can call them time and again for a Synod meeting. And the Synod meeting, no doubt, gives the Holy Father the opportunity to be able to understand better the realities as far as the life of the church is concerned. It is important for us to note that when these bishops come from the different parts of the world, they are not going to meet the Holy Father during the Synod just to give their personal experiences or opinions as far as their particular churches are concerned. No. Of course, before that happens, they must have had lots of information from the grassroots in order to see to it that they can present situations and realities to the Holy Father that will be able to help as far as the governance of the church is concerned. As far as the timing of the Synod of Bishops to be called is concerned, is determined by the Holy Father. But the Church teaches us that the purpose for the calling of the Synod of Bishops will be to promote a closer union and greater collaboration and cooperation between the Supreme Pontiff and the bishops of the whole world. Why does the Holy Father call for synods? In order to promote a greater collaboration and cooperation between him and the other bishops in the whole world. Then, secondly, he convokes a Synod of Bishops in order to get accurate information, to get direct information on matters and situations that bear upon the internal life of the Church and upon the kind of action that should be carried out as far as these issues are concerned. In other words, the Holy Father calls for the Synod of Bishops in order to get practical realities on the ground. What is happening in the fields? What is on the ground? And of course, another reason that he calls the Synod is to facilitate agreement, at least on essential matters of doctrine and on the course of action to be taken as far as the life of the Church is concerned. I know, of course, in our local level, the bishop of the diocese can also call a synod for the diocese. Like we are preparing to celebrate the 75th anniversary of the erection of the Diocese of Boya. I can also decide to call for a synod. And that synod will give the opportunity now to the Christian faithful of the Diocese of Boya. We take certain themes, certain topics, certain things, peculiar to our church, and we discuss on those things concretely, and we see whether we can take some, you help me to understand the practicalities, the realities as far as the diocese is concerned. You give proposals of decisions that we can take so that after 75 years of existence, which type of diocese of Boya do we want? Then together I can get all those proposals which will make us to come out with a document that will be able to guide us in the years that are coming ahead. At our local level, at the level of the diocese. But now we are talking about the level of the universal church. And of course, as far as the synod is concerned, we are told that there are 3 stages as far as the calling of a synod is concerned. We have what we call the preparatory phase, the time for people to prepare. And during that period of preparation, what is happening? That is when information is sent to the grassroots. The grassroots give their contributions on different topics and themes that have been put in place, and they gather all those things at the preparatory phase. After that, we have what we call the celebratory phase, the time that the synod actually takes place. And the third is what we call the implementation phase. So we prepare for a synod, we hold a synod, we communicate the fruits of the synod. These are the 3 phases that are very important for us to consider. It is only the Supreme Pontiff, only the Pope, who can convene a synod and preside over it, either personally or through others. He is also the one to determine the agenda for the meeting, to ratify the choice of those elected to the Synod, to designate and appoint those that he thinks can be part of the Synod. Then, of course, he has the powers either to conclude the Synod, to transfer the Synod, to suspend the Synod, or even to dissolve the Synod. The Synod may be called, and there may be other mitigating factors that can lead the Pope to suspend it. So it is important that we know that. And of course, the Church teaches us that there are three types of synods. There are three types of synods. We have the ordinary general synod that takes place after every 2 years. The ordinary general synod that takes place after every 2 years. We have the extraordinary general synod. And we also have the special synod. The distinction between the three is made on the basis of the composition and the purpose for which the synod is convened. Unlike with the extraordinary general synod and the special synod, the extraordinary general synod is supposed to meet every 2 years, as we have mentioned, but the other synods can be called by the Pope whenever he sees that there is a necessity. As regards the composition for the ordinary general synod, we are told that those who participate must be elected members by the different episcopal conferences in the world. And then, of course, those designated to the norms of the special law of the Synod, like the patriarchs, the major archbishops of the Eastern Rite churches, etc. Then, of course, those appointed by the Holy Father, 10 members of clerical religious institutions elected according to the special laws of the Synod. And lastly, the heads of the departments of the Roman Curia. We are having a synod that started, we have had a preparatory phase, and last year in October, for 1 month, the synod took place in Rome. And again, this October, the synod is going to hold and conclude on its deliberations. For every synod, there is a team. There is a team that is chosen and approved by the Holy Father. The team for this synod that started last year is known as participation, communion, and mission. We are all called to participate as far as the life of the church is concerned. We are invited to live in communion with each other as members of the church. And we have all been sent on mission to bring the gospel message to our brothers and our sisters. So when we say that the Holy Father has power to govern the universal church, and that is the only human authority, the highest human authority in the church. What we also mean, in other words, is that he doesn't govern the church as an individual. He governs the church in collegiality, with the College of Bishops, with the Synods of Bishops, and other members of the Roman Curia who help to handle the day-to-day running of the church. And I think what we are saying as far as the universal church is concerned is also what applies to the particular church. At the level of the particular churches, beginning from the mission station, we have the Mission Station Council. At the level of the parish, we have the Parish Pastoral Council. At the level of the deanery, we have the Deanery Pastoral Council. At the level of the diocese, we have the Diocesan Pastoral Council, according to the implementation of the Provincial Pastoral Plan. And I think that it is important for us to note that the church, as far as leadership and authority is concerned, is that of consultation before decisions are taken. The Holy Father cannot just sleep and get up in the morning and take a decision. The bishop should not just sleep and get up in the morning and just take a decision. Neither should the parish priest do. We have to concert, we have to consult at different levels, get different opinions to enlighten us, so that by the time you are taking the decision, you know that you know the mind frame of most of the people who are working with you. To consult also does not mean that those who are consulted are the ones who take the decision. The decision can only be taken by the Holy Father, or by the bishop in a particular church, or by the parish priest. Sometimes you have heard people say, you see, we went to that meeting, this is what we said, this is what we said, this is what we said, then this is what the parish priest has decided. He has consulted, and he has decided what he thinks is good for the people. So we went for the meeting, the bishop asked us questions, we said this, said this, said this, but this is what the bishop has decided. And that is why, even at the level of those who help the bishop in the day-to-day running of the diocese, the Presbyterial Council, the College of Consultors, the entire Presbyterium of the diocese and all the rest, the bishop should do lots and lots of consultation to be informed, to know the realities on the ground, in order to permit him to make sure that whenever he's taking a decision, he should not be in error.